What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So, I've been meaning to cover this fight. I've been really busy. I've got my own fight coming up, and I've been preparing for that, obviously. So, here I am, and I'm going to make a video on this fight. So, it's a really good one. It's Ruiz Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz. And this fight is going to be taking place on the 4th of September. So it's a bit of a way away, but it's a good fight. I like the fight, and this is a fight between two contenders. Andy Ruiz Jr. has obviously had two world title fights, one as a challenger and one as champion. And Ruiz Ortiz, he's had two world title fights, both losses to Deontay Wilder, but was competitive in both of those fights. So this is two solid contenders coming together and having a heavyweight dust-up. It's almost a crossroad fight of sorts, because where is the loser going to go? You know, it's going to be a long way back for the loser of this fight. So I like this fight for that aspect. It's two solid fighters, two contenders in the heavyweight division coming together, and whoever loses is going to have a long road back, but whoever wins is still going to be viable in the heavyweight division, looking for a future title shot, although that title shot may be a while because the belts are held up with Fury, Joshua and Usyk. But either way, they put themselves in the mix. I'm not going to talk too much with regards to details about, you know, stylistic breakdowns and tactics that each fighter should use in this video, because I'll save that for the fight preview, which I'll make closer to the time of the fight. But just a few opening thoughts. Andy Ruiz Jr., he beat Anthony Joshua, and a lot of people were shocked by that. I thought Joshua would win that fight, but I wasn't surprised like other people were. I wasn't surprised that Andy Ruiz Jr. had success against Joshua. I was just thinking that Joshua would probably win that fight, because Andy Ruiz Jr. isn't the type of pressure fighter who fights in a certain type of way to make Joshua uncomfortable. But that didn't matter in the end. But anyway, that's a long time ago. Then Andy Ruiz Jr. went in that rematch against Joshua, out of shape. He didn't seem motivated. It was almost like he'd achieved what he wanted to achieve. That was enough, and he didn't want to put in the adequate effort to have longevity. It was almost like he won, made his money, got his title. Maybe you can always say he was heavyweight champion, and didn't, you know, behave in a disciplined way. Came in a lot heavier and didn't show the desire outside of the ring. Inside the ring, he was cool. Outside of the ring, you know, he didn't have the discipline. So he basically gave the belt back to Joshua. And then since then, he's had one fight, so relatively inactive. He fought Chris Arreola, and that was a close fight. I know people, you know, I know these scorecards over here had 118, 109, 118, 109, 117, 110, but I think it was closer than that. I think it was closer. I wouldn't even be surprised if Chris Arreola won that fight. And Andy Ruiz Jr. was down in that fight. He looked vulnerable. He went down from 283 in the rematch against Joshua to 256. So he lost a lot of weight. And if you lose too much weight too soon, that can definitely impact your punch resistance. You know, and Andy Ruiz Jr., his punch resistance didn't look right in that fight. He looked wobbly, he looked not as strong, and that can happen if you lose weight too quick. So Andy Ruiz Jr., speed, you know, hand speed, a bit of power there, and can effectively counter you. Now, quickly about Ruiz Ortiz. Ruiz Ortiz, he lost to Deontay Wilder in their rematch, but was winning decisively. Went on to fight Flores in the one round. You can't really tell much from that, but he got the knockout, so you can't take that away from him. And then he went in against Charles Martin and had a very, very hard fight against Charles Martin. Charles Martin's a good heavyweight, people. I don't care what people say about, people laugh at Charles Martin. Charles Martin's a good heavyweight. He can punch. He's got good technical skill. He's not the best heavyweight, but he's a solid heavyweight. Put it that way. He's a solid heavyweight. He proved he can take a punch against Adam Kownacki, and he has punch power himself, and he uses his technical skill to navigate his way through fights, and had success against Luiz Ortiz. He had Luiz Ortiz down twice. So Luiz Ortiz, in his last fight, down in rounds 1 and 4. Andy Ruiz Jr., in his last fight, he was down. So Luiz Ortiz perhaps showing the vulnerability due to age, and Andy Ruiz Jr. perhaps showing vulnerability due to losing too much weight too soon. So this fight, you know, had it been a few years ago, I would be picking Luiz Ortiz. I'd be picking Luiz Ortiz big. But both fighters here showing vulnerability. So this fight is going to be an exciting one because they both shown vulnerability in their last fight. You know, both of them in their last fights showed vulnerability. Both of them have got great attributes. Luiz Ortiz has got that technical skill. He's got that ring generalship. He knows his way around the ring. He's got a hard, straight left hand, and he knows how to set it up. And he's a good counter puncher. Andy Ruiz Jr., good counter puncher himself. He's fast. He's got a bit of power on his punches, and this makes for a good fight. So I'm going to be looking forward to it. I've seen the undercard. I don't actually recognise anyone on that undercard, I'm not going to lie to you. But hopefully they got a good undercard. It's a good fight. And what do you make of the fight? Is it a fight that you want to see? Is it a fight that, you know, excites you? And who do you see winning at this stage? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. And I'll see you on the next video. What's happening? I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be fighting on the Big Energy Show on the 9th of July in Romford, Essex. It's going to be a great fight. Make sure you get yourself a ticket. You can get a ticket by calling or texting me or sending me a message on Instagram. The link for those are in the description. It's going to be a great fight. I'll see you at the fight, and I'll catch you in a bit.